Dr. Mark Changizi here through Science Moment. Today I'm going to talk about where to sit and how to sit at a coffee shop or a bar or wherever you are. If you're single and you want to get the person over there that you're interested in to look at you or to pay attention to you and maybe to make any further progress with that person. So imagine the person's already sitting there, right? And of course part of you enjoys just to watch somebody that's beautiful to you. It's just a natural desire to want. It's just a beauty and looking at beauty, right? It's a joy in that. And so you're inclined to sit down such that you can see that person. And this is a rookie mistake. One, because for the first reason, once you're sitting there, you're not going to be able to just stare at them because you just can't get away with staring at somebody. It's rude, and you're not going to be able to do that. So. And two, it's not going to allow that person to look at you. And what you really want is that, of course, what you want is to be able to look at that person, but you can't do that for social reasons. But you do want to let them look at you, because what you really want them to do is to be able to have the chance to lay their gaze upon you. And when people gaze at you and can get away with gazing at you and looking at you, it kind of leads to a positive feedback loop I've talked about in the first 50 or so episodes. This is why we often sort of have crushes on people in movies or people on stage, and this is sort of the star quality. In real life, if I can look at you, it's a little bit like touching. Looking is a little bit like touching in the sense that, hearing is not like touching. I can hear everybody in the room, but when you look and you put your fovea in some sense on them, if I can continue to do so, and somebody else in the social community saying, hey, stop looking at that person, or that person doesn't say, that means I'm able to socially get away with it, which means that I must have access in some sense. The social community is letting me, that person is letting me in some sense touch you with my eyes. So the more that you can let that person get away with touching you with their eyes, the more they're feeling like, hey, I'm able to get away with this. This may be something that's more possibility for me, and they actually get more attractive, because something is more attractive to the extent that you think that it's something that you can obtain. And then you look more, which makes you want it more, and it can be kind of a positive feedback loop. And you already have decided this person is attractive to you. You don't really need to go down that positive feedback loop, as good as it might feel. You want them to go down that feedback loop. So you need to sit such that you're not really looking at her or him or whoever it might be. Not only are you're letting them, you're choosing a spot such that they can see you, and such that you can't see them seeing you. You want them to feel free to look at you without fear that you're gonna see them looking at you. So you need to go out of your way to do the sort of what is counterintuitive completely, I think. You need to sit down such that they are free to gander. They'll take little peeks all the time without a nary worry that they're ever going to be caught doing so. So you're just basically looking completely away such that they're never going to get caught. That's what you need to do. And of course, there's much more to the story. How are you going to actually get such that you can talk to them, and are you going to see them again at the same place? There's a billion other things you have to do. But in terms of just the visual angles and who should see what, and in these sort of gaze issues, in terms of the directions of your relative gazes, that is the dynamics that I just in fact had a conversation with my son. I said, this is the way I think about it, which is, I think, counterintuitive. And it occurred to me that it's worth doing a science moment, because there's at least there's several interesting facets here, including this positive feedback loop I talked about, and the extent to which gaze is more like touch, and it really does feel like touch. And people do this with their touch as well. At parties, they're talking to somebody, and they might just touch them on the shoulder. They're kind of testing can I get away with touching on the shoulder? Do they reciprocate with a touch? And then it's like, okay, now you've kind of tested something without making a firm commitment. People do these things subconsciously, and when they do those things, when someone touches you on the shoulder, sometimes if you have any like for them, often you feel more attraction, because you implicitly know, even unconsciously, that, oh, they seem to like me, I like them more, because they're obtainable. Whether something is obtainable itself, I should talk about in a future pardon me, I should talk about in a future episode. The degree with which the probability of you being able to get something changes your own perceived desire of that thing. An older paper of mine, which I'll talk about in detail in some future Science Moment episode. And that was your Science Moment.